Hey, it's Nate from Navigator Bookkeeping, and I am out of my normal office, but this is a topic that I think is so important that I figured, hey, I might as well record it, even if the background and the office don't look as great as usual. So, what we're talking about today is something that's been in the news quite a bit. You'll see it on the screen here. It's the beneficial ownership registry, right? So, beneficial ownership information registry, I should say. So, the BOI, you may have seen information about this. There's a lot of information going about both fraudulently and non-fraudulently about this right now. I myself received a letter um, requiring all these fees and all these things to file my BOI, which was fraudulent. But then there's also been many communications coming out from lawyers, from accountants saying, "Hey, we'll file this for you. Here's this fee to do this," which is not fraudulent, but there's a cost with that. So um, putting this video together just to walk through the process about what this is, how to file it, and then go from there. I will tell you this is not legal advice or anything like that. So as you're watching this, if you're unclear about any of the answers here, you always can reach out to legal assist to someone with for legal assistance in figuring this out. But there are a lot of resources online that I think you could probably figure it out on your own. Not saying you should for sure do that, but I was able to do it on my own. I think for most of you watching this, if you have a relatively straightforward small business, um, it's doable as well. So first of all, we'll be screen sharing a couple different things here, but this is the first link that I'm going to share with you with this video is just the from the U.S. Department of Treasury. For anything related to federal guidelines like this, you always want to make sure you're going to the source. In this case, we're going directly to the Treasury. And this is just a press release that came out at the start of the year. I'm just talking about who should file for this, all these things. But what I like about this is it gives you two really easy definitions. So the first one is, are you an existing company or a newly created or registered company? And where that deadline basically is before January 1, 2024 or after January 1, 2024. So if you had a business in place before 2024, then you are called an existing company. If you had a business in place after January 1 or January 1 or after, then you are a newly created. And that we're going to see that in the application. So I'm going to walk you through the application. You're going to see we're going to have two options when it comes down to that. So that's the first thing in here. The other really helpful piece in here is they have this small entity compliance guide, which is just a PDF. It looks like this. It's actually really helpful if you have any questions. There are certain entities and companies that don't need to register for this. For most small businesses, those won't apply. But the one that is probably the most likely, if you're kind of on the larger side of small business, is if you had $5 million or more in revenue on your last tax return, or on your last tax return, or if you're 20 employees or more, or sorry, those are with. So 5 million in revenue on your last tax return and 20 employees or more full time, then you may be able to not file for this. So you can read through this on the requirements. But honestly, what I'd say is with things like this, it's going to take you about 5 minutes to register. There's no cost. In a lot of ways, just registering probably is a safer option than trying to find a reason not to register, right? In a lot of cases, if it's going to take you 5 minutes, if it's surplus to requirements, the government's not going to be upset about that. So I'd say, if you're not sure if you should register or not register, you should just register just to be on the safe side there. So anyways, this link is in here in this document. Feel free to check that out. But really all we're going to need for this application are your name, date of birth, address, and then an identifying number. So either a driver's license or a passport or something along those lines. You also need either your EIN number or social security number. So let's get into how to file for this. I'm not going to, again, get into whether you should or shouldn't file. As I said, I think in most cases, if you're a small business, you're going to file. And if you're not sure, you can read that compliance guide. But like I said, you might as well kind of file safely. Like, for example, accounting firms don't need to file for this. But I read from a couple accounting firm owners that they still do this just because they're like, I might as well do it just to see what the process is like. And it never hurts to just do it. As far as it's just sending information in. So always go on the safe side there. But how to actually file for this? What we're going to do, we're going to go over here and we're just going to Google search BOI filing. Okay. You want to make sure that you're finding the legitimate link here, not something from a fraudulent site. Because like I said, there's a lot of fraud out there right now about this. And, there's a lot of people also doing a little bit of fear mongering and saying, hey, this is actually really hard. You should pay us money to do this for you. If you want someone to do this for you, that's fine. But I think in most cases that there's no need. This is very quick, which is what you're going to see here in this application. So we're going to click on here. We're going to the Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, which I honestly did not know was a aspect of the government, but it is here. It's legitimate. And we're going to scroll down here, and they have a couple different things here. And I'm going to click here and say File Report using the BOI e-filing system. Then you're on this screen here. There's a couple different boxes, but we're going to click right here, BOI Reporting, Beneficial Ownership Information Reporting. And then you have a couple different ways you can file. You can create a PDF and then submit it. I'm going to just show you the complete web-based version because I think it is the easiest. So we're going to say prepare and submit BOIR here. All right, so now we're in it in the application itself, and it's very straightforward. You'll see that here. So the first page here, filing information, you're going to say what type of filing is this. If this is your first time doing this, you just say this is my initial report. If you're correcting something, then you would choose one of those different options. You're going to check yes on this box. Actually, don't need to check yes. We're just going to say next. And then here we have something where it says, do you want a FinCEN ID? A FinCEN ID is kind of like a identifier that for your personal information as a owner of a business. So if you have multiple businesses, this may be something that you want to do as far as receiving one of these. It's just another layer of privacy and security for your personal information. So basically, instead of having to put in all your personal information, you can enter in your FinCEN ID instead, and that will be connected to all of your personal information. So if you're having to do this for 4 or 5 companies, it might be nice to do this. It's free and it's quick. They just want to verify you are who you are. So you can check the box if you want. If you're just doing this once, you may not need to do that just to make it straightforward. So we're in part 1, doing our company information. So you're going to put in your company name. So I'll say we're doing Navigator Bookkeeping, LLC. If you have a trade name, you'd put that in there. They're going to ask for your tax identification type. So you're going to put in an EIN or an Social Security number there. So I'm just going to make up a EIN here. I think it needs to be 9 digits. Just got 9 digits in there. Great. So you're going to put that in. If you are a foreign entity, so from a company outside the US, there's a different process here, which I'm not getting into. I'm just talking about companies based in the US. All right, so they're going to ask for our state. Put that in. They're going to ask for our address. Just going to put in a dummy address here. Chicago, United States. Just going to put all this information in here, all very straightforward. All right, press next. Now this part is interesting. This is where, when I talked about whether you're an existing company or a new company, this is where that matters. If you're a company started before 2024, you would click you are an existing reporting company, and it's going to give you this little pop-up. If you are a company formed in 2024, you'll leave this unchecked and you'll have some extra information in here for what they call the company applicant. So in this section, my understanding is that you'll put in just a applicant for the company. So as the owner, you'd put in your information here. It's the same information you're going to put in elsewhere, but it's just name, address. They want an ID number, and then a picture of that ID. So like a driver's license, for example. But if you're formed before 2024, you won't need to do this. Going to press next. So now we're in the beneficial ownership information section. So this is where you're going to enter in information for anyone who is a beneficial owner of the company. Now, this is where that PDF that I mentioned can be kind of helpful because they get into who is a beneficial owner and what that means, right? What they say, let me scroll down to chapter 2 here, which is who is a beneficial owner of my company. Right here. They're going to ask, who is a beneficial owner? And it says someone who exercises substantial control over a reporting company or someone who owns at least 25% of the interest of a company. So if you have someone who owns 25% or more of equity in the company, they're going to be a beneficial owner. And then someone if they control substantial interest in the company. There's different definitions in this PDF of what that means, but they basically have it come down to, is it someone who is a senior officer who's like a president or a CFO, CEO, someone like that? They could be someone in this. So this could be a helpful piece on this PDF. This is page 17 of this PDF to kind of figure out who who do we need to include in this? But for most small businesses, you probably will have just yourself as the owner, or if you have two owners, you'll include both of you, three owners, and so on. So in this box, for each beneficial owner, you're going to put in information. If you do have that FinCEN ID, put that in right here. But you're going to put in name, date of birth, address. Here's where you're going to put in the identification. So you put in passport or driver's license, enter that in here. And then you're going to upload a picture of that identification. And then if you have another beneficial owner, you just click up here and click add beneficial owner for as many as you needed. Once all the beneficial owners are in there, you're then going to press next. And it's going to just basically have you certify that what you're entering is correct and true and you're not lying, which, don't lie to the federal government. That's important. Then you're going to press I agree and submit. So it's that easy. It probably should take you only about 5 minutes. So like I said, I've had quite a few people asking about this who are either concerned about this or just didn't know what this meant, how much time it was going to take, should they pay, $500 to someone who's offering to do it for them. It's about 5 minutes of time, pretty easy. So I'd say probably feel free to do this on your own, unless you're having concerns about who should be included, who shouldn't be included. As I said at the beginning, it's probably always easier to err on the side of include more information rather than less information when you're talking about the government kind of getting as much information about the business as possible. So if you're not sure if someone is a beneficial owner, read those definitions in that PDF, use that as much as you can. But I think for most small businesses, this is going to be pretty straightforward as far as who's the owner and who's not, and go down that route. So hopefully this has been helpful. Again, not legal advice, but I just wanted to show you what the application looked like, how to walk through it, where to find everything, and the most key information is just do it before the end of the year here. If you were, yeah, I should have said that. If the business was formed before 2024, you have until the end of 2024 to complete this. If the business was formed in 2024, I believe that the definition is 90 days after the business was formed is how long you have to complete this. So if you were formed in 2024, a little bit more urgency on this. But either way, just make sure you do it. Be careful about any fraud going around about this. There's no fee to file. There's no nothing, yeah, like that you need to mail in with a fee, nothing like that. Just do it online, very simple, and go from there. All right. Hopefully this has been helpful.